Greetings and gratitude to all light forms and life workers who have found this, the magic of runes, which is the first lesson of this rune course here at the Third Eye Line Mystery School. You have found this somehow. You have been part of this group. So here is your first study lesson. We're going to be discussing the magic of runes. It goes back to the Vikings. So many different origin stories. I recommend, like all topics, you look into it at your own pace. You find your own resource base. Go about it your own. Don't take what I say as gospel. I am Ulinus, the librarian and elder here at this mystery school. But I'm still a student. And I recommend to you to still be the same way. So keep learning and know there's so much about runes that is still yet to be known. So, thank you for being here. Odin was said to wanting great wisdom after sacrificing his eye for wisdom. He wanted even more. He hanged himself upside down and starved at the Yggdrasil, the world tree. Until the brink of death, he saw these symbols on the ground. And he had a flash of these symbols. The broke, and on the ground he grabbed the branches of the tree of Yggdrasil. He broke them off, and to make the runes. And this is where they come from, is his idea of transmitting these cosmic symbols into a way that he could explain and understand. They have been used on soldiers and magicians. They've been used for almost every purpose you can think of. They're hidden in all kinds of art, billboards, logos of companies. The runes are everywhere, and they're used for many different forms of magic. You can carve them into candles for candle magic. You can get them tattooed for mind magic. There's so much you can really do with a rune. Instead of, like I do, create cards with them, with just index cards. Some people like to have the more natural wooden runes. Some people like synthetic. It's whatever materials you want. Some people believe you have to make your own runes. I believe you need to either make your own runes or know directly the person who made them. But if you want to make your own, it's really easy. All you need is paper and a pen or a pencil. By going out and making the magic of doing it, the magic of action, the magic of making something, is really powerful when you feel this time of someone else who made it as well. When you know that person, you talk to them, you spent time with them, you can feel their energy. And know that runes are interpretive. There's multiple meanings of what one rune may mean. Some of them might be uncertain and have not as much clarity as others, and some of them may be very clear. This isn't part of the magic. This is part of what the spell work you could be doing with it. When you're aware of this energy, that you're aware of the mystery, the unknown force of the rune, the godlike, the higher aspect of it. It comes in, there's many books, public domain resources. I'll leave those to you. I'm not going to recommend anything at this time. I believe runes should be your own journey. I'm just the lighthouse keeper of the runes. I would love to talk more about this in the further lessons. If you have any specific types of magic or ideas that you would like to incorporate into runes, we can talk about. But we're going to get into each of the runes more detailed in this series. I really just want to discuss now that having a daily runic practice, meaning just pulling a rune, giving readings a day, whatever you want to do with the runes, doing rune poetry is really powerful. If you haven't worked with rune poetry, it is such a beautiful and amazing idea to take this infinite symbol, this elder concept, and transform it into life, transform it into something now that is meant to be experienced, which is meant to be understood in its divine way. And this is only done by you, by your manifestation, by your action of saying, hey, I'm going to work with these symbols that maybe even come from the aliens, that maybe are some infinite symbol that I may not truly understand. feel it and know the symbol. Feel the joy of the rune of joy. And when you see or feel or hold this joy, it's joy. It's here. It's now. Celebrate it. Why? Because you know it. When you feel joy, see this symbol. Every time you feel joy, think of the symbol, and you will learn what it means very quickly. And you'll be able to identify them very quickly. And just deeply look inside yourself and find that joy, find that excitement, find that passion that you've always wanted, that you've always felt like was missing or needed to be more enriched, more allowed. Find it within, because the truth of the matter, friend, is that the runes are part of you. The runes are something that already has existed within you for timeless ages and eons. So understand that within you, the magic of the runes exists. So when you work with your past efforts, when you make things just happen, when the seed, the harvest, the moment of sprouting, the seed separation really happens, you feel this around you. And you may start with the runes in a subtle way, like this with paper. You may get more deep and buy the fanciest runes you can. Whatever you want to do in your relationship with them, make it a relationship with the mystery, with the practice, with the ancient lore that goes along with the runes. Who has used them? Has anyone in your family used them? Maybe some people in my family have. And I'm tapped into this. I don't know exactly who, but I feel this bloodline connection to it. And it is something that is a deep love of mine. Do you love it? If you don't love the runes, there's so many other forms of divination. Please find one that you love. And if you love the runes and you've watched 7 minutes of this broadcast, you know that the runes are for you. You know that you're supposed to build and foster a loving and deep connection with the runic magic, with the Viking way, with the Nordic tradition of Thor and Odin and Loki and Freya, and you can feel these pantheon of magical entities. You know they're real, you feel their magic, and you know that this power can be harnessed. You know this power can be called upon, and relationships with this power can be forged. But you need to be that entity to do so. You need to be that entity that transforms it into something new. It might have been something in the past, but it gets to be something new in the future. So same with the runes. They're always developing. There's a younger food arc and all kinds of other food arcs. There's always new types of runes. There's always people experimenting with the runes. There's so many different types of codic symbols that are basically geometric. The more you spend with these symbols, and the more you feel this something cosmic, right? That transcendent feeling of something bigger than you. Something grand and fantastic. When you feel that fantastic moment, when you're just like, wow, no matter how icy the dark, cold space may be, the vastness just goes on. And you feel that straightness, that pillar, the line, the innermost strength you have. And then you radiate into the sunlight. You move from cold into bright. And when you feel the sun, you know that these aspects exist in these symbols. You can feel the heat from the sun. You can feel the cold from the ice. You know the relationship you have with the symbol is elemental, is tactical, is physical. This is how you know your magic is working. When I see this symbol, I feel the sun. No matter how cold it may be, I feel warm. Why? Because it's the symbol of the sun. It warms my heart. If I see the symbol of ice, no matter how hot I am, I'll get a little colder. Because it's the power of cold. This is what we can work on. This is the type of magic you can start harnessing. And find the way that you want to honor the runes. Make it a ceremony. Make it something that is sacred, because it is. And make it your own. Some people make it super sacred. Some people make it sacred to their own level. And, the more you learn, the more you share with the runes. It's really powerful. You can draw them with Sharpie on your tarot cards. Look up correspondence. Make up your own correspondence. What is a correspondence? Correspondence is saying that one symbol represents some other thing, and correlating or connecting those two things together. So the more you research how to do that, how to bridge tarot and runes, books and runes, and learning more about bringing runic practice, the runic magics, into your daily life. Learn the runic breaths. There are written. You might want to come up with your own runic breathing mechanisms. That's your intuition mind tells you. But the more you research at whatever level of development you are, know that your time with the runes, your experiences of filling runes is only going to amplify. The next topic I really want to talk about with runes is knowing and respecting what type of magic you do with them. It's always going to come back fivefold or more. So be aware and respectful of the process of each and every rune. Love them, communicate with them, and honor them. And know that they have a relationship. If you don't use them for a while, they're not going to be as accurate. They have personality. They have energies throughout them. Connect to this inside you. Know that this is part of you. And the more time you spend with your runes, like in painting, in diary, like I liked every day when I do my diary, I like to write down what rune do I feel the most today. So I'm not pulling a rune. I'm basically drawing my own rune. It's the opposite of it. And the more I do this practice, I find this strange thing. One is like knowing a language that other people don't know is a really amazing feeling. But two, to just be tapped into this ancient Vikingism, this ancient Nordic force. And when I feel this energy, this divine frost is throughout my mind, and then the divine sunlight coming through, I know that what I'm doing with the runes, how I am amplifying them, is very important, is very needed at this time. And I say the same for you. I recommend you look into how best can I formulate my path with the runes. How best can I bring and honor what they mean to me and how I do my magic. And if you don't want to do the runes, that's fine. There will be so many other things in this mystery school. One of those things will resonate with you. But understand at the utmost that the runes are symbols and tools. They can be used to either light the way or burn down the bridge. So be cautious and be aware of what you're doing, what type of energies you are invoking, and what type of consequences others have faced by not respecting those. The more you understand these things, the more you do circles, prayers, casting, banishings, acceptances, shadow work of any kind. You will have less of these things, but they still will manifest or still show up to show you that you're on the right path. Because the low-key, the trickster only shows up when you're on the path of awakenment. Wait when you're about to achieve the greatest wisdom, the trickster will show up to mess with you. So know that the Loki is alive. He will mess with you and has messed with people. And there's a lot of confused runic people who are fallen under the spell of Loki. So research this, understand this. The spell of Freyr, the spell of Odin, the spell of Thor. You can fall under the spell of Tyr and these other major and lesser gods through the runes if you're not aware of them. If you focus too much on one rune, you can kind of be subject to that force. So, again, the study is really important. And don't take anything you study as gospel at force. Compile multiple things and then see the thing that lines up the most. And then the thing that lines up the most to you and your experiences and your emotionality, and go with that. Because, like I said before, the runes exist within you. You're not remembering something that is foreign. You're remembering something you've already known. It's not memorizing, it's rememorizing. Yes, you have to remember that it's already something within you. Remember that it's already this energy that's inside. You've made it before, you've done this before. It's not the first time you've worked with the runes. If you've understood this broadcast enough, you've probably have multiple lives in the past, present, and future where you are working with the runes. But how are you developing this process? How is this practice growing? And are you conscious of it? Are you aware of what you're doing every day? Are you aware of how these symbols are being manifested in logos and just basic things, tattoos all over the world, jewelry? When you see these symbols, you know exactly what they mean immediately. Because if you don't, you're missing out on one of the powerful forms of magic. Whether or not you use it, it's a good thing to know and have in your toolbox. Because as a mage or as a spiritual occultist of any kind, by knowing these oldest forms of occultism, these oldest forms of mystery knowledge, we can better aid ourselves with any forms of study. If you can pull a rune if you're reading a difficult book and you don't understand, the runes will help you. If the runes are a tool that can be very powerful, but is only something that is within you that's being amplified by this device. And we all can kind of cast runes in our mind if we choose to, but very few people even decide to know anything about the runes. So I appreciate you and your mystic wisdom to find this broadcast, and I say, keep on questing, oh mysterious friends, and you are loved.